topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Hello and welcome to the Connected Table Live. We're your hosts, Melanie Young and David Ransom. You're insatiably curious culinary couple. We travel the world to bring you the amazing people we meet, places we visit, wines we drink, and foods we eat, and the incredible hospitality we experience. So we can share it with you, and hopefully you can have the same experience when you travel. We're taking you to the beautiful Tuscan region of the Maremma, to an architectural masterpiece we recently visited. It's a masterpiece by the great architect Rienzo Piano, and it's unlike any other masterpiece he has created. It's not a skyscraper, it's not a museum, it's a winery in Italy in the Maremma, and it's called Rocca di Frassinello. This winery is the brainchild, a joint venture between renowned Chianti Classico producer Paolo Panerai of Domini Castellare di Castellina, and Baron Eric de Rothschild of Domaine Lafite, one of the great first growth Bordeaux. It's an extraordinary collaboration where Italy meets France to create the best of the best, with a winery that is a masterpiece, as we said, by Italian architect Rienzo Piano. Before we introduce our two guests today to talk about this winery and the wines of this area, we want to just give you a taste of what we experienced. The photo behind us is the extraordinary barrel room with about 2,000 bottles. But just briefly, let us show you the masterpiece in this very short video. Oh, I want to go back.
Oh, I want to go back too.
And get this, everybody. They actually have rooms where you can stay as well. We were able to stay at this beautiful winery and have an exceptional dinner and tour. It's open to anyone to visit. So we're going to talk about the concept of Rocca di Frassinello and wines with one of the owners and founders, Paolo Panerai, and his head winemaker and vice president, a renowned enologist, Alessandro Cellai, who both join us from Italy today.
Yes, I am.
Welcome. Welcome to the Connected Table, both of you. Thank you for your time and thank you for your hospitality when we visited recently. It was incredible. We want to start with Paolo. You've got a very interesting background because you really come from the journalism world like we do, and you own a very renowned media company. That is your background. You can see behind you one of the many world leaders that you've interviewed. Okay, so you were at the top of the media in Italy.
Yeah.
What was the reason? What is your why to decide to invest in wineries? You own several estates. You own 2 in Tuscany. You have a winery in Sicily, and I think 2 in Sicily, right?
Yeah.
So you have 4 wineries in all, your company. What was the reason you decided to make this incredible commitment to wine?
It's my story because I live for a long time near Florence, where was one extraordinary but very small vineyard. And then I have in my idea always to continue this experience. I dedicate many years only to activity of a journalist, but when we founded the publisher house called Class Editori, together the major Italian economic university, Università Bocconi, and we have the opportunity in terms also the money to invest in wine activity. And the first being Castellare di Castellina, because I come from Florence. I live for many years out of Florence, but Florence is my city. And then the best territory for the wine in Tuscany is most famous also Chianti Classico. And so we start with one podere called the Castellare di Castellina. And after we develop the space, fortunately, I have the opportunity to meet Alessandro Cellai. And just in connection with our relation with a great enologist, Giacomo Takis. And then we start also with the support in terms of the ideology of the wine with Luigi Veronelli, the writer, the most famous writer in the wine. And so the combination of this relation push my person to buy something. And in the 1979, we have the opportunity to buy from one Swiss gentleman the Podere Castellare. Do you know the story of Podere? Podere is part of the Fattoria in the past, but when changed the legislation about the activity where the owner have the opportunity to have the cooperation of the worker without dependence, but because there is a special, is called, the system is called mezzadria. In the means, there is the owner and the worker, and the divide not always half and half, but with the difference, the production. And so we start with Castellare. A very, I have the fortune to know Giacomo Takis, and Giacomo Takis connected me with Alessandro, your best follower, and so we are here with the evolution, because with the time we improve the dimension of the Castellare, and they arrive at this dimension of 45-50 hectares of the vineyard. We have the fortune to have very quickly one great wine. This comes from the philosophy of Luigi Veronelli, in the means to have not only Chianti Classico, but use some wine of Chianti Classico just to produce the wine with the capability to be competitive with French wine. And so bought Isodi di San Nicolò. Isodi di San Nicolò is the name come from Sodi is the name of one type of the land, and the San Nicolò is the church, and so we create this this name with the strong capability of the land and the connection with the church.
Very nice. So we've not visited. Have you visited?
No, I haven't been to Castellari.
We need to come visit. But we did get to visit Rocca di Frassinello actually twice. We came with the Maremma Consortia several years ago, and then on his private tour with our good friends at Tuscan Wines and Foods, the Strada, the Toscana Vino in Sapori recently. And we're curious, the collaboration with Baron Eric de Rothschild of Bordeaux, Chateau Lafite. How did that come around? We read that you were having lunch together somewhere and talking, and then why don't you take it from there? Because he was enthusiastic, but as they say in the United States, go big or go home. He wanted you to invest big. So why don't you tell the story, and then how you convinced this amazing Italian architect, Rienzo Piano, to build the winery, because he was resistant at first.
Are two combination, very special combination, because about Rienzo Piano, the history is this. When Rienzo is not the great, famous architect, at that time I started to my activity of the journalism in the newspaper of Genoa. And then the editor-in-chief at the moment, Piero Ottone, for a long time correspondent from United States, said me, go to watch, because we received the correspondent of one part of Genoa. There is one crazy architect. We decided to build one building without a window. And that was the house of the company of the father of Renzo. And I go there, and when I enter, in effect, they are not window, but there is the special structure with this, with the glass, and light entry in two directions with the extraordinary effect. And so we create this great friendship relation with Renzo, and I write when I projected the big building in Paris, the museum. And so this is the explication of my relation with Rienzo Piano. More the experience and the connaissance and the relationship with Eric Rothschild is another story, but after there is a combination of two connaissance. Because the story is this, we have a company, publisher house, and we listed the company. And Rothschild Bank have one office in Milan, and so they give the interest to be advisor for the delisted of the company. In that, after 2 or 3 meetings, there is in Milan Eric de Rothschild, and they receive the information from the peoples of your company. We are interested in the wine, and so at that time I have bought one podere in Maremma, because the problem of Chianti Classico was the necessity to develop, but there not the possibility to have the big space. And so there is one sort of a migration in direction of the Maremma from many producer of the Chianti Classico. And we buy one podere, 70 hectares, and that was my dimension.
Yeah.
Eric received the information, and the wife of Eric is Italian, and his friend of Noemi Marone Cinzano, the family of Cinzano.
Right.
And they have Noemi one villas in Maremma, in the best space of Maremma. And so I received a call from Eric. We received the information we are buying the land in Maremma. I have a program to come in Maremma because my wife is in vacation with Noemi Marone Cinzano. Mm-hmm. So I said, but there is a small property, because in that moment there is one specific operation. For a long time, the land in Maremma is assigned to the worker. After 50 years of the work, this worker have the possibility to buy the land, and after to sell the land. And so I have bought this 60 or 50 hectare, of 70 exactly, hectare of the Eric came in Maremma, and after the lunch said, well, we go to see the property. I explained it's very small property, and they are not significant vineyard, because there is the vineyard only for the production of the family of the owner of the land. And when I arrived there, he said, but there is the vineyard. And then I suppose there is also the wine. If you like, test, but I don't know the quality of the wine. They made the test and said, good, I think if you have the capability to buy 500 hectares with the possibility to implant 90 or more hectares of the vineyard, and if you have the possibility to buy this hectare, not open, but inside one structure because explain the philosophy, the concept of Rothschild. Because if you have if you produce a good wine, and there is the possibility for another people with the owner in connection, the land in connection with your land, after this have the opportunity to sell also his wine is okay. So we work for 6 months. We have the opportunity to buy other hectare to arrive at 500 hectares. Just with there is only one small part where there is the contact with other producer. And so we start, and Alessandro cooperate with the winemaker and the other people of Chateau Lafite. And we plant one estate natural in the same philosophy of Rothschild activity, and then there is more red than white, and we plant the vine typical of the French. So it's very interesting, the experience, and we work very well together. After 9 or 10 years, Eric called me and said, I have one not well information to give. And explain me, but this is depend if you consider it to maintain in the program my explication, because he said the Rothschild without interest in the bank, but is a great family, other people, they receive the best profit for the wine, and then they decide, and Eric upset to sell where the French company is not in majority, and to buy one are in majority, they buy the minority. Okay, this is the story, and so it's a very fantastic relation. It's interesting also the decision about the cellar and the architect for the cellar. Eric said when I propose, I am a very friend of Rienzo Piano, we can have the consulting from him. Said no, the architect for the cellar is disaster, because I must redesign the space created from one famous Spanish architect, and I must so I am negative, the answer was. But I said, but Rienzo Piano know the wine, because his father have the property in the other part of the Liguria, at where there is the connection between Liguria and Piemonte. And so they have a good. Fortunately, Renzo live in Paris, and then I have the opportunity to connect to organize the meeting, and in the moment when Renzo give his idea about the structure, in consideration of one concept very important, to make the after the harvest, the grape must go down from without push from the area, and because it's more natural, the grape go down and they maintain the integrity of the part of the grape. And so with this concept, Eric upset the decision to give to put in charge for the cellar Rienzo Piano. The original project have 2 towers, but after the problem of the 2 towers in New York, we decided is to cancel the one
right.
tower.
So just to clarify what you're referring to, and I think we may have a still photo of that winery, the winery with the tower. Originally, the winery was going to have 2 tall towers, and because of what happened after September 11th and the crash of the World Trade Center, decision was quickly made to only have 1 tower. And what you're referring to with the integrity of the grape is gravity flow. This is an amazing conception of design and science to maintain the integrity of the wine. I think what we'd like to do is, we have Alessandro Cellai, who's been patiently waiting, and I hope his audio is working. We've had some audio with him, but I'd like to bring him in because, Paolo, you talked about the land, and you talked about how Eric de Rothschild said, let's go for 500 acres. But interestingly, about 90 hectares, 90, I believe, we believe are vineyard. The rest is just this beautiful land with lakes and landscaping and olive groves, and really a commitment to preservation. And while the land was being excavated, there was a discovery of Etruscan artifacts, right?
Yes.
And so a museum has been created next to this beautiful cellar, which you can see behind us. This, as you said, an amphitheater cellar. Across the hall is actually a museum with many of the artifacts, right?
Because there is the area of the Etruscan people, and the Etruscan people at that time import the wine from French.
Interesting.
So they live in that part of the Tuscany for a long time, and then the Etruscan like very much the wine.
So let's bring in wine. Good segue, Alessandro Cellai. You have an esteemed background. You were appointed by the great Giacomo Tarcus to be like his predecessor, protege, and you were in charge of all the winemaking for all 4 estates for Castellare di Castellina. But we're going to specifically talk about Rocca di Frassinello because we don't have all the time to talk about 4. For those who are not familiar with the Maremma, they may know Chianti Classico, but they don't know Maremma, and it's geographically very different. Talk to us about this amazing land and why it is, and what you can cultivate there, because it is in the heart of what is considered the Super Tuscan region. and it shares similar characteristics to the incredible soils of Bulgari, where many Super Tuscans are, but somewhat different. So why don't you talk to us about that and maybe spotlight some of the wines which we had the great privilege to taste?
Question is for me, right?
Yes.
CC.
Okay. So, first of all, geologically speaking, that side of Maremma where Rocca di Frassinello is located, it's very similar to the Chianti Classico area. The soil characteristics are almost the same. Of course, temperature are not the same. And also another beautiful great point of the Rocca di Frassinello area that we have a great influence from the sea. We are not right of the sea, but we are getting a lot of beautiful influence, especially on the breeze, especially in the evening, in the summertime, cooling down the temperature and giving a lot of excursion between night and day. And then this specific situation giving to the wine a great character of the grape varietal. That is the beauty of the area and the reason why with Mr. Panerai we decided to invest in that area.
So give everyone listening around the world a sense of the wines that are produced. What are the strong points of what you produce? We know that we tasted the 100% Merlot, the Baffonero, which is considered one of the great Merlots of the world. But you also have some amazing whites. I mean, this area is Vermentino land, and some of the best Vermentinos ever, and some amazing blends. You have Bordeaux style blends. So talk to us about that and how it is very different, because Chianti Classico, as we all know, has very strict rules about what a Chianti Classico can be.
Correct. In Castellare is totally true that since the beginning was a great philosophy of Mr. Panerai that I agreed since my beginning with him. That we wanted to respect the integrity of the grape varietals, no blending international and indigenous grape varietal. But Maremma, of course, is a different story. And then in Maremma, you mentioned Vermentino. That is one of the wine that I am extremely proud for that wine, because Rocca di Frassinello was and it still is the first winery investing on that grape varietal with the vision of the long-term consumption. Because since the beginning because as you know, Vermentino is originally from Sardinia. But in terms of microclimate, in terms of some part of Maremma in terms of soil, and very similar to the Sardinia areas. And then the reason why, and then many Sardinians are moved from Sardinia to Maremma, and that's the reason why the Vermentino became so popular in the area of Maremma. But nobody was treating the Vermentino as we treated, and we are still treating. So considering the Vermentino as the great varietal in order with a beautiful creaminess and a great complexity.
There he is.
I think it's a fabulous grape, first of all, and treated the right way, it's got a great ability to age.
Yeah, Vermentino is the white. I think we lost you a bitchies back. We love connecting in the countryside because people come and go. But for us, when we traveled to Maremma, this area is where you should try Vermentino.
Yeah.
And you're back.
Yeah, and then there is a reason why we treated the Vermentino keeping the wine on the lees. That is the great thing in the winemaking ideas. Treating on the lees and then giving this beautiful complexity, and the Rocca Bianco, that is the greatest expression of Vermentino, is giving us a fantastic satisfaction. The market is really appreciating a lot this beautiful style of Vermentino.
That lees aging just adds that incredible creaminess and almost an umami to the wine that is so food friendly. Let's move on to some of the reds.
Well, let's also.
Of course,
David.
in the reds, Rocca di Frassinello. In Rocca di Frassinello, we had a little evolution over the years, because we started the first three wines that was created at the beginning of Rocca di Frassinello was Le Sugare, was Rocca di Frassinello, and Poggio alla Guardia. So following the same concept of the Bordeaux style, no? So it's the third label without any connection with the name of the grape of the winery. The second label, part of the name related with the winery, like Carroir de Lafite, and then we called Le Sugare di Frassinello, and Le Grand Vin is the full name of the project, is called Rocca di Frassinello. And then over the years, we introduced Ornello, that is the second top wine that is just recently introduced in the top 100 wines of the world by Wine Spectator. And Le Sugare also was included in the top 100 of Wine Spectator in 10 years ago. And then at the end, in starting with 2007, we already had in mind at the beginning between me and Mr. Panerai to produce a great Merlot. But considering that all the vineyards was new for the idea to produce a super great Merlot, we decided to wait a couple of years more. And starting from 2007, we decided that was the right moment to start to produce this great Merlot as a single vineyard in the vineyard called Baffonero. That is the reason why we decided to call the wine with the name
Black
of the vineyard.
Mustache.
Yeah, and this means black mustache in Italian.
Yeah.
And then that is, I think, as you said at the beginning, this is one of the greatest expression of Merlot, not only in Italy, but in the entire world. But in top of everything, and this is extremely related to my idea of winemaking philosophy, is that following my relation with Giacomo Takis, I learned a lot from him, as many things. But the basic things of Giacomo Takis was that in a great wine, we must recognize three beautiful things. The first is the territory, the second is the grape varietal, and the third one, the DNA of the producer. That is the three columns in the winemaking philosophy of Giacomo Takis, and I try to, in all of the properties where I'm working with Mr. Panerai, to reproduce this idea. And then the reason why the Baffonero is so special.
But about Baffonero, we received incredible releasing from Les Echos. Probably you know, Les Echos is economic daily honored from the great company for fashion. But have the Saturday edition where the deputy editor is a specialist of the wine. And so he writes exactly Baffonero, stupendo, because they understand the land chosen from Alessandro have the same characteristic of the implant of the French vineyard vine for Petrus.
Yeah.
And he said it's Petrus of Italy.
I was just going to say that it's the Petrus of Italy. Yeah. And we love Petrus. So it's, our visit was extraordinary. We do want to give a shout out to Massimo Casagrande, who had dinner with us. And
yes,
kind of was there to talk us through the wines. We spent the night as we wanted, because we do talk about wine tourism. We want to let people know you can stay there, and it's lovely, and you're in this incredible designed area. You know, I think David had one last question.
Well, I did want to talk about
a little bit of the time we have.
Alessandro and Paolo, you all did a lot of research when you were planting the vineyards to find out what plots worked best for what grapes and whatnot. You came up with the Baffonero vineyard because the soil tests found that particular spot was very good for Merlot, and you said, let's go for it.
Yes.
You also have a specific clone of Sangiovese that you call Sangiovese, which comes from Castellare. Why don't you tell us about that? Because that's really the bulk of your production.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, in top of everything, we must say that before to build a vineyard is a primary law to understand exactly what we are planting and where we are planting. So we are doing a specific analysis of the soil, and after that we also check for a couple of years the microclimate situation. We have a lot of instruments to check humidity, rains, wind, and so on. Because of course, when we plant a vineyard, is not for 1 year, is not for 2 years, but is for many, many years. So we must be sure that is a perfect combination between soil and grape varietal, and especially the rootstock, because when you see the analysis of the soil, another special thing is to choose the right rootstock. That is extremely important, and that is the first important thing. And the second is, of course, you mentioned about Sangiovese. So now we are jumping to the origin of this grape varietal that is from Chianti Classico. That was extremely related with a great opportunity created by Mr. Panerai at the beginning of his experience in Castellare, much before than me. So he decided to study at his beginning in Castellare in the end of 70s, all the great vineyards that he found in the property in Castellare, selecting with the University of Milano with Attilio Scienza, selecting the best indigenous clones that they founded in the property. After a long research, after a long selecting by selecting, so we identified the best clone from this original place. And for this reason, Mr. Panerai had a great idea to call this grape varietal with the origin of the Sangiovese. That is, the first name of Sangiovese was Sangioveto. So before to become Sangiovese, the first name of this grape varietal was Sangioveto. And that's the reason why our clone selected in Castellare and exported also in Maremma has the same name because genetically it's come from this type of selection, is named Sangioveto. And of course, in terms of morphology of the cloisters, we have a very small berries, rich in polyphenol, with a great texture, make wine with a beautiful synergy between texture and elegance, and rich but not heavy, always preserving the freshness and the beautiful drinkability of Sangiovese, with a great acidity that make a very good balance, especially over the years in the evolution of the wine. And of course, when we started to think about Rocca di Frassinello, the plantation of Rocca di Frassinello, the side related with Sangiovese was immediately our idea to bring the same experience and bring in the same grape varietal that we had in Castellare.
We can add the secret for the Super Tuscan. The concept start in 70 here, is because have the same the specific characteristic of the Sangiovese, and is in that occasion the English journalist recuperate the name, the old name, and the local name Sangioveto. Sangioveto so is one evolution of Sangiovese, depend of the land and the other thing.
It's very interesting.
It
you know,
is.
the DNA of grapes is fascinating to us.
Yes.
Really, there's so much to learn. You know, what we love about working in this industry, besides the incredible people we meet and wines we taste, is we're constantly learning and discovering. And you know, our visit to this part of Tuscany, which really focused on Western Tuscany, Maremma, Bolgheri, Collini Pisani, Lucchese, the Apuan Alps, has been an eye-opening, because we go down to Prima Toscana every year, and I know we have tasted the Castellari di Castellina wines at Anteprima, but going to the winery and seeing the land and tasting the wines is an experience unlike any other. And we want to thank both of you for sharing it with us here at the Connected Table. Our goal is to inspire people to travel and experience and step outside their comfort zone to try new wines and embrace good foods. And it's thanks to people like you, Paolo Panerai, owner of 4 wineries, and Alessandro Cellai, who's a renowned winemaker, that we have this opportunity with this commitment of excellence. So we want to thank you for that, because it's helped us and it's helping a lot of people really enjoy wine. And we all want people to love wine.
Okay.
Now that you mentioned a real special thing, because when the visitors arrive in the properties, they can breathe the philosophy, they can breathe the soil, they can breathe the attitude of the producer to produce this type of quality, and they can understand much better. They can be much more deeper in the production, and they can appreciate much better. So you are doing a fantastic job, and we say special thanks to all of you to promote, to invite the visitor to visit and to understand personally the properties that you recommend. So we are saying thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, your time is valuable, so we want to thank you. We want everyone to know that you can go to see all the wineries at the website castellari.it.
Yes.
And
both.
Yeah. So that's where we can find them, and we encourage everybody to plan a visit.
Great.
And thank you for visiting with us on the Connected Table. For all of you who are watching and listening, you can see the show on the Connected Table TV. You can hear it on more than 65 podcast channels on demand around the world, and we are honored to bring it to you. We love to end the show always by saying we want you to eat, drink, explore, and be inspired, and always stay insatiably curious. Grazie a tutti.
Thank you to you.